Yeah, we were talking about war amendments. People wrote and asked me, well, what does that really mean? A war amendment nowadays would be something like an executive order. So upon the inauguration and the swearing in of the so-called president of these United States, notice I said these United States. These United States is different from the several states or the Union States. As you can tell, the United States is an ambiguous term because it can mean 10 different things. But essentially, in the case of what we're talking about for war amendments, that is applied strictly to the United States. When the Republican form of government was somewhat overthrown, it happened during the time that the Continental Congress, or what we refer to as the United States of America and General Congress Assembled, went into what's called sine die, or sine die, which means adjourned to a later date. And while that was to take place, the administrative corporate so-called federal government was going to take over and hold it down on the administrative end. They took out a loan to do this. They took out an enterprise to do this themselves, even though they weren't a country. You got to remember, they declared their so-called, how they'd say it is that they went through a war of independence in 1776 and then fought really hard until 1777. And most people who don't know believe then that the country was then founded. But you got to remember, at the time that this went down, there was no United States of America. There was no United States. You understand? There was no jurisdiction for which the United States to propel itself into a centralized government for itself. Therefore, it had to come out of something. And that something predated it. That is what's called in law or American jurisprudence the precept. The precept is anything that came before. And therefore, the precept is us. So because we are the descendants of the original constituency of the so-called Republic of the United States of America and General Congress Assembled, a.k.a. the Iroquois Confederacy, a.k.a. the Union of the Six Nations, a.k.a. the Republic, a.k.a. the Old Moorish Empire, we are ancestrally the truest American citizens because it was us, according to George Washington. When you look at the tomb of the unknown soldier in Washington, it basically alludes to us having expelled so much energy to help create a system by which was supposed to hold us down while we got our own individual stuff together. That then system turned against us because once the compact came through, the compact was what they call the more perfect union. The more perfect union started from the Articles of Association, that went into the Articles of Confederation, that then went into the United States of America General Congress Assembled, what we call the Continental Congress.
Around what year?
This is between 1321 and 1774. The reason why we as the Moors were able to have a global empire was because one of our illustrious ancestors, Kankan Musa Bey, traveled across the entire region of Africa on his Hajj to Mecca, and he dropped so much gold that he depreciated all the markets, meaning that he bought up every market that he went through because there was no other money that was sufficient enough to hold up to his. So in that, he put the down payment on what became the then Moorish Malian Empire that extended from the western portion of Mali up into the Barbary states, over into what we call España, further up into the southern Pyrenees, which is southern France, back over to what we call Greenland, back down into Alaska, North Central and South America. So all of these records is there. All these people know that that's what it is. It's just that we, as the original constituency, have to be unmade to know that, because then that would explain why so many of us is getting popped in the head and killed and stuff like that. Because the more that they can lock people up before they realize who they are and take control of their estates, the more that they can murder and ritualistically kill people and things like that before they realize their estates, before they realize that all of these black people, their melanin is being harvested. That's why melanin is $335 per gram on the NASDAQ and things like that. Like, you gotta understand, nothing is wasted when it comes to you because you're the basis of everything. So those who are made to believe that they are the worst are actually